Ciao friends, welcome to Simple Italian Cooking. This is Liz and I'm so excited that you're here today because if you're sick and tired of eating fast food chicken nuggets, I've got an awesome alternative and it's Italian style. Let's go through the ingredients so that you can make this recipe as well. And by the way, if you love Italian food and you especially like it when the recipes are easy and simple, make sure to follow and subscribe, give a like. Not only does it help us out, but it'll help you out because when you hit that notification button, when we come out with new information that would be really useful for you, you'll get notified. Thanks. All right, so I'm starting off with a single chicken breast, but this chicken breast is really big. And I'm actually going to be cutting it in half because I don't want really thick chicken nuggets. I want them to be the proper size, like a regular chicken nugget. So we'll go through that a little bit later. In terms of how we're going to be making them for the breading, you're going to need some breadcrumbs, obviously, and there are lots of there's lots of different ways that you can either create your own breadcrumbs or you can buy them, and I'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so then we're also going, since I am personally going to be making my own seasoned breadcrumbs, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. But if you want to make them too, you're going to need some dried parsley. And in terms of measurements, I'm going to give you enough for this setting, but if you want more and you want specific, really specific measurements and instructions, visit my website. I have the link down below so that you can print it out and use it, keep it for your records, refer back to it. But this way, at least, you'll be able to follow along with me or understand the process for making these. And then we're going to use some cheese. Now, I'm using Romano cheese. This is going into the breading mix, okay? So this is something that you're probably not going to get from the store-bought brands. And this really gives it a little bit of a zing, a little bit of that nice Italian cheese flavor that we love. I'm using Romano. I like that. Less goes further because it is stronger than regular Parmesan. But if Parmesan is all you have, that'll be fine. Don't fret over that. Okay, and then really, really simple, we're just going to add a little dash of cracked black pepper. Okay, and you know what? You can actually even omit this. Not adding any salt. I'll tell you why. Because you're going to get enough saltiness from the cheese. Not needed. Then, of course, you're going to need some extra virgin olive oil for the frying. And in fact, you don't even have to necessarily go with the extra virgin. I just really like that. I think it still gives it a little bit more flavor. There's debate about that. So if you don't have extra virgin and you have regular olive oil, that's fine. But do stick with the olive oil instead of like canola oil or soybean oil. Unless you want to go that way, then that's fine. But you are going to lose some of that Italian nice flavor that comes from the olive oil. And all you're going to need also is some white flour. And you can use gluten-free flour. No problem with that. And a single egg. I'm pretty sure I can get by with a single egg. I might need two. It just depends on how far this stretches. So I'm going to start with one and we'll see if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the breadcrumbs with the seasoning. So I'm just doing that in a single bowl. Let me make sure you can see that here. Now with these breadcrumbs, I took literally a baguette that was a French baguette that we order from Thrive Market, and I just chopped it up. I put it in my Vitamix and blended it up, and that was great. So I have about, I think, what do I have here? A cup and a half maybe. So I'm going to add some parsley here. Okay, do a little bit more. So this is about 1/8 of a cup that I'm using right here. In for the parsley, cheese, gonna add some cheese. Okay, again, this is the Romano. It's finely grated, and I'm gonna do a little bit more because I really like the flavor. And I want to let you know that quantities are totally adjustable. This is a very, very flexible recipe. Okay, you can adjust quantities. You know, if you don't even want the cheese, maybe you stay away from dairy, you can really omit that. That's completely fine. Okay, so let me show you a close-up of what this looks like. And I need to add the ground black pepper. Just going to do a little dash. It's maybe a little bit more. Not always a huge fan of black pepper. You don't even have to use the pepper. You can even use white pepper. Okay? So I'm just going to mix that in. And I'm just have this in a wide, kind of a wide bowl. I find that's easier for dipping when we get to that step, okay? Now, in terms of the parsley, if you're making your own, you can use fresh parsley too. It doesn't have to be dried. I decided to go ahead and just use the dried. I have a bunch of it, so that works out really well. And I'm going to go ahead and crack the egg. And we're going to beat the egg. Now, so we have our 3 prime ingredients, okay? I bet I'm going to need another egg, but let's just see how far we go. So, okay, so we've got our egg. Actually, we're going to start off with the flour. Flour, egg, breadcrumbs. If you can remember that, you probably can't see it here. Flour, egg, breadcrumbs. And the reason why we do it in that order is because the flour is going to help, it's going to stick to this, and then the egg will stick to the flour. Otherwise, the egg is more likely to run off. Now, I've experimented with this, and I've done it both ways, where it was like the egg first, and then without the egg, and all this and that. And I really found that this sequence is best. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these up into about maybe 1.5 inch. If you want to have it extend a little further, then go ahead and cut them a little smaller. That's one way to be a little bit more economical about it. So I always talk about this. Why I make my own breadcrumbs for the most part is because it's the only way I can get them organic. And if there are organic ones out there, it's probably so expensive. It's like nutso. So some of these are a little thick. You really don't want them too thick. Like, you don't want them like scallops, right? You just want them kind of a nice size. So let me just show you a close-up here. Okay, and they're just going to cook down real nice. I mean, that actually looks like a triangle. Who cares? This is going to taste good no matter what. Okay, so I'm going to put these over here, get them out of the way, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish up. So one thing I wanted to talk about was different types of breadcrumb alternatives that you can use. This is where it gets really exciting because you have so many options, and you probably are going to come up with more ideas than what I'm going to list here. But you can use, I think a lot of us have heard of like using cornflakes for breadcrumb mixes. If you don't have breadcrumbs, either you didn't get to the store or you don't have, classic stale bread. You know what? I don't even use stale bread a lot of times when I make my breadcrumbs. I just grab, a loaf of an artesian bread, and I put it right in the Vitamix, like I said earlier. So you can do the same, but if you don't have that, then you can use, sandwich bread. You can use bran flakes if you don't have corn flakes. Bran flakes would probably be pretty healthy. I mean, granted, the taste is going to be different, okay? But, I'm trying to come up with some healthy alternatives for you. And we're not deep frying these. That's one thing that we are not doing. We are simply doing sauteing them in a frying pan, and that will work just fine. Okay. And then if you have little pieces like this, cook them up. Don't worry that it's not the same exact size, like this nice little strip here. You know what else you can do if you don't have chicken breasts? If you're at the market and you see the chicken, like chicken tenders, tenderloins on sale, chicken strips on sale, get those and use those and chop it up. I mean, these are different sizes, so unless you're really doing a massive presentation and you need it to be real uniform, this is how it is. You know, you're throwing these together for yourself, for your kids, for family. Don't stress about it. Keep it easy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use I'm using my induction burner, but I'm using a cast iron pan, and I'm using that simply because it's got a little bit higher sides than my regular saute pan. And it's the right size for this. If I used my really deep saute frying pan, it's going to be too big on this, and I don't want that I just don't want to deal with that this time. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and get this set up, and I will put a link to the induction burner. I actually talk about these. If you've never heard of them or seen them, I absolutely love them. They're portable. They kind of work a little bit like gas, where the heat is like on and off. You know, you can really adjust it really nicely. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. And I'm going to do this over kind of a medium-high heat. And while that's getting ready, I'm going to go ahead and clear off some space here. I'm actually going to get some gloves. That makes it really easy for me to make a mess and hurry up and don't have to do it necessarily one by one using a fork. So, okay. So let's start here with getting our olive oil. And I'm just pouring in a good amount. I can see that heat is definitely heating up quickly because I have this up. And I'm just going to take a few of these, and I'm going to just go ahead and put them right in the flour. Remember, we coat it in the flour. Then we do the egg. And then the breadcrumbs. Okay. Now, when you get your fingers wet with the egg, and you put them in the breading mixture, that breading mixture is going to clump and get all over your fingers, okay? So what I do is I just kind of put them in here, and it will make a mess. There is no doubt about it, okay? It does make a bit of a mess, and you just try and be as neat. But let me tell you, in the end, it is so worth it. It's a quick recipe, too. It's really not hard, especially if you keep your breadcrumbs, your plain breadcrumbs, if you're making them yourself, you know, just keep them in the freezer. That's what I do. Glass container or any freezer-type container, freezer safe. And, yeah, I'm definitely going to need another egg. I don't know what I was thinking. And keep it in the freezer for later. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. We're going to go through a few, and then I'm going to finish up the rest. And try and get some of that egg off it. It doesn't need to be all thick and heavy on there. And then I'm just going to coat these. Does that look good? Nice and hot. Sizzling. Just coat it quickly. Make sure you get all the sides. And start putting them down. Okay? And you want that, you want the olive oil in the pan to be a medium-high heat. Probably going to turn mine up here in a little bit, but it's sizzling. You want it to be sizzling when you put it in there. And that's how you know it's what you don't want is to put it in and the oil to be cold and then you turn it up. So if you're enjoying this and you're learning something, please hit that like button. Appreciate it. Really, really do. Okay, and then here's a little bit more. Turn this up just a tad because I had turned it down earlier. All right, so we're going to let this go ahead and saute for a few minutes on each side. And again, depending on how thick you have it, it's going to adjust. So don't be like, oh, well, Liz says to do 3 minutes on each side. It may be 2 minutes for you because you didn't really fit. It may be 4 minutes for you. You may flip it over and it's like pretty much all the way cooked through because you left it on for longer on one side. So Again, there's really no wrong or right. You just want to make sure that all the sides are nice and cooked, and you want to make sure that there's no pink in that chicken. So one thing that I find when I'm kind of lightly frying these is really any type of dish is as the oil gets hotter and hotter, I sometimes have to turn the heat down. So if you find that, feel free to do that to get the right temperature. So I can see that these are really delicious, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them on a towel, a paper towel on a plate, and I'm using tongs to do that because I don't want any splattering oil to burn me. So, and I just check these. I'm going to turn that over again just a little bit. So you'll notice I'm using the splatter guard. It works pretty good. It helps keep it down a little bit. It's not perfect, but it works. But I really like these. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing the next batch. I refueled with my egg, and we're going to keep going. Here I am. I'm trying to just go ahead and hurry up and get these done. So what I did was I just put the rest of a bunch right in the flour, mixed it up with my gloved hand, did it in the egg, put a bunch in there, mixed it around. Now I'm putting it into the breadcrumbs and going to just mix it so that they get evenly coated. And that's a really quick way of doing this, so you don't have to do them one by one. That leaves me. So I'm just going to give you a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35 chicken nuggets, okay? So you figure how much we pay whether there's Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, and we go and we get 5 for what? I don't even know how much it is. But I can tell you that if you multiply that, if you said, you ordered enough to have 35 or however many I said, well, you're going to be paying a lot of money. And this combined, you had 1 chicken breast. Okay, now it was a thick one. I cut it into 2. All right. And the amount of the measurements of just some of the breadcrumbs, this and that, you're saving yourself a bundle. So a really great way. You can put this in your kid's lunch. You can pack it. It's great for picnics. You can add it to a salad. Ooh, that sounds really good. I might be doing that. These are not going to go to waste around here. So another thing that you can do with these is when you serve them, what kind of dip do you want to use? Me personally, I don't even use a dip. I just eat them as is. But if you really want to make it fancy, get some pizza sauce or a little bit of tomato sauce. Add a little bit of oregano. That's what will make it more pizza-like. And use that as a dipping. Put it in a cute little bowl with a little side dish of your nuggets and dip it. I mean, it'll be delicious. Mmm. Oh yeah, these are good. Definitely Italian chicken nuggets. These are awesome. On just really good Italian food. I don't know what else to say. Listen, if you like this recipe and you liked the video, please give me a like. Really appreciate the promotion, trying to build up the following and just help as many people as I can learn the recipes that have been taught to me that have helped me so much. It just gives me so much joy to help other people. So all the links below for everything that I've used to make this recipe a success. Listen, have a wonderful day. Grazie. E ciao.